We're back, baby. The UFC. I mean, dude, on the day of recording, Dana White dropped the best video that I've seen all year long because the UFC is going back. You remember the first show that we had, UFC 249, after the first show of the whole pandemic era, took place in Jacksonville. And we're better to return, Blake. We're going back to Jacksonville, and we're going to pack that arena. We're going to have a full sold out crowd for UFC 261, which also gets us the rematch of Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman for the welterweight strap. My man, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped for this news.
Yeah, it's exciting news. I'm really happy for the fans that get to go there and see what they've been missing. And I'm also happy that Dana's finally going to shut up about, there not being fans. So, and he gets a little more money in his pocket. Maybe he stops worrying about the streamers. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm okay with that move right there. But that's not all, because we also have UFC Vegas 21, because that card literally had everything from subs to knockouts to decisions to split decisions to one hitter quitters to no decisions, all the way to robberies. It literally had any kind of finish you wanted. We had it. Oh, and poor Belal Muhammad. I really felt awful for him this weekend. But of course, we're going to get into that and more. But I'm your host, Ross Allen, joined alongside by our UFC correspondent, Blake Campbell. And Blake, you ready to get into things here, my man?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go.
So let's start off UFC Vegas 21. This was a all. I mean, I know the main event kind of took the air out of the card, but looking back at it, I mean, it was a really good card. It was a really solid card. Some of the ones that we're almost spoiled with, because it seems like every UFC card is damn good like this. And the first fight that started off the main card, a fight that you picked out is part of Blake's bangers for this one, is potential fight of the night candidate, Eric Anders against Darren Stewart. And then what happens? We had Eric Anders, and he had Darren Stewart dead to rights. And then Stewart drops a knee. And then Anders lands a knee to the head. Another illegal knee. Back-to-back weeks with this. It was kind of... It sucked. It sucked because Anders was clearly going to win this fight.
Yeah, that's the thing that's been really tough about these knees that are back, these back-to-back weeks with these knees is, similar to the Jan fight, he was beaten. Well, I mean, I guess it was a little bit
That fight
different.
was closer. That fight was
Anders was
closer.
beating the heck out of Darren Stewart. Like it was going to be a finish.
Like,
Like it
I'm
didn't
surprised it
matter.
wasn't stopped
Right.
before.
It definitely could have been
Yeah.
stopped. Like I feel like a majority of the refs in the UFC probably would have stopped that fight, but I think it was
It
Herb
was,
Dean, right?
yeah, he was letting him
Yeah.
go.
So he's if they
Which
die,
I
they
thought
die.
was okay. I wasn't mad about that.
I'm sure the fighters appreciate it.
Because Darren Stewart was kind of there. He
He
wasn't.
was
He
still he
was
was
kind
still
of
kind
there.
of defending himself,
Yeah.
and he's a tough dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, these knees just don't make sense to me, man. It sucks because why? Like, why even put yourself in that position? Like, why even think about throwing a knee when he's in that position? When your opponent is in that position, just punch, man. Like
Well,
he's already pretty much knocked out on his feet. Like, just keep hitting. Like keep. That's why I feel like a lot of fighters just don't do that enough. It's like just freaking go ape shit, for lack of a better word. Just go crazy and just punch, punch, punch. Just go wild.
well, I've been seeing a few people speak up between fans and fighters. Should this even be a rule? Should they do away with the downed opponent, no knees to the head?
I don't know. That's tough. It's tough for
Yeah.
me to say. Because I didn't like the look of
Aldo
I
and
didn't like the
Jan.
look. Yeah, I didn't like the
That
look
was
of
bad.
Aljo and Yawns.
That
I
was
didn't
bad.
like, and maybe it would be different if they were aware, like it can come.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would have got caught flush necessarily, but yeah, I'd rather not see those because that just seems like a little bit too much,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then the question off of that though is this fight comparable to Aldo versus Jan? Because we saw a lot of people after this going, "Oh, they got the no decision, but the Jan got disqualified." Can you compare these two fights?
No, I mean I think they were both illegal strikes,
Yeah,
but one was clearly blocked partially. Darren Stewart had his arm up,
yeah, that was
and
it was a like if we're going off that, it was a really weak illegal knee. It was really
yeah,
weak.
you can't say because there were some people saying, "Oh, there was no intent," blah 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 blah. You can't say that. No one can determine that.
Yeah,
There's only one person in the world that knows whether he's throwing that with intent or not. That's Jan. That's Eric Anders. But I mean, from the outside looking in, yeah, it was more of like a touch knee. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't look like he was trying to knock the dude out, but
He didn't get
nonetheless,
decapitated like
yeah.
Aldo did.
Nonetheless, though, it is an illegal strike.
Yeah.
So how does I don't know. One week it's a DQ, the next week it's a no decision. It's kind of I don't know. I'm in favor of the decisions. I like that it was a no decision this week. I thought that why penalize uh Anders for a strike that really wasn't
Mm-hmm.
gnarly. It was just unfortunate kind of. It was one of those real bang bang things where it's
Mm-hmm.
like Jan almost it seemed like he almost wound up for that shit. He
Right.
looked like he was trying to bust that dude's face open. So
If we're talking, I know we can't say intent, but Jan's knee, that was intent.
that looked like he wanted to knee him in the forehead.
Oh, that one was not good.
And
But
he knew, and the referee in that situation was declaring he's down. In I think the Darren Stewart situation was a lot more bang bang. Like
mm-hmm.
they were up against the fence, if I remember correctly, and he was probably going from up to down.
Yeah,
So just a little tougher.
a little tougher. And then before we get into one of the next main card fights, just want to highlight Matthew Sumsberger against Jason Witt to start off the card with a 16-second knockout. Oh, oh, that was gnarly, Blake. That was, I mean, what better way to start off the card?
Yep, you can't beat knockouts, man.
Oh, especially when it's 16 seconds in, and that was somehow still the quickest knockout on the card, even though they had some. It got real close there. And then one of the things I said at the beginning, though, is that we did have a robbery with this one, and I want to see if you feel the same way with Manuel Kopp and Matthias Nicolau. Was this a robbery, in your opinion, with Nicolau winning this?
It was close. I robbery's a tough word, but
Mm.
I had
Kopp. Kopp.
Cop.
Yeah.
I had Cop winning.
Soft there.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to be like Chilson that mispronounces everything, this is Manuel Cape with
That's
Matthias.
his shtick though.
I know, I love
I
it.
don't want to take his shtick.
It's so funny. Like it sounds so intentional, but not. I guess it is intentional actually because everything Chilson does
Oh yeah.
has a purpose behind it. That's why he's a undefeated fighter, never lost a round for the mean streets of Western Oregon. But I kind of felt that same way. I mean, Cop he had round one. Then Nicolau took round two. Those rounds were pretty clear to me. And then like I agreed with the commentators. I mean, obviously they had some issues commentating last week with Izzy and Jan. There's a little more. I felt a little biased in that one. I would agree with the majority of the fan base. But with this, I felt like the commentators were right. With the minute left, this was really anyone's round in anyone's fight to win. Then those big knees that Cop landed like with 30 seconds to go. I thought that secured him the fight, but apparently not to two of the three judges at least.
Yeah.
I didn't like this one. I maybe like you, it was this is borderline robbery. I am really close to calling it robbery. It would hands down be robbery if Cop won like one should have run like all three rounds. But when it's a split, when it's like one round to two, and then it's kind of hard to call it that. But I do disagree with the scoring there. And then the next fight after that, we had Davy Grant putting down Jonathan Martinez, making quick work of him a little bit into round two with a fat left hook or left cross that pretty much flatlined Martinez there on the canvas.
Yeah, that was one of the fights that I actually didn't get to watch because I was going to my dad's birthday. So
Well,
I
happy
missed out
birthday
on.
to your dad because
Yeah,
he
shouts out to the dad.
shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie dad. I remember the fishing trip. That was a good time.
Oh yeah. No,
Oh,
but I got to watch all the other. That was like literally
bless
that
up.
was the only one I missed because we went
Bless
to
up.
Elk Grove.
Unbelievable. I am
Bad.
disgusted with you, Blake, but okay, I'll forgive you. At least, hey, he's got 50K Dan Ige for a reason, my man. Dan Ige, a guy that, I mean, Blake, ever since we started, ever since he, like, really before he broke into the top 15, he's a guy that you and I both have been raving about and been trying to put his name out there. Then he keeps on proving everyone why you should know who he is because, I mean, slightly weird where you have a guy not in the top 15 going against the number 9 ranked guy that might be a little bit of a jump. at least on paper, and it was clearly a jump because Dan Ige hits one punch in this fight and knocks Gavin Tucker out cold, and he gets an extra 50K in his pocket for this one.
Yeah,
And it was, I mean, we can't really talk about the fight because what fight?
that was a brutal hit.
Oh, it was a clean drop. It looked like some Mark Hunt type stuff right there. The Mark Hunt walk off.
He just got him right in the center of the face and just lights shut off. It was dare I say miraculous. Maybe not even. I don't even think that's the right word to use because it wasn't like a miracle. It was
It's
just
phenomenal.
yeah, phenomenal. It was
Phenomenal.
it was it was spectacular, outstanding.
I could rock with that.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss on that one. And I think one of the better parts about this fight wasn't necessarily the fight, but two of these guys, we'll get to Ryan Spann after this, but Dan Ige, I think he had a perfect call out for the Korean Zombie. That is a fight that I need in my life. I didn't know I needed it until he called him out, and that's all I want at this point. Chan Sung Jung versus Dan Ige. Book it.
Yeah, you could definitely book that fight. I mean, with a spectacular knockout like Dan Ige just had, now he has a claim to, throwing his name in the hat, so to say, with some of the top guys up there.
Mm-hmm.
What's Korean Zombie ranked right now?
So he's still number 5 after that loss to Brian Ortega.
Number 5. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's definitely doable.
Between Dan Ige, we got Calvin Kattar, the still injured, but fingers crossed he returns soon. Josh Emmett, Jeremy Stevens, right there too.
Okay. Jeremy Stevens would be another good one too, because
honestly,
he's in the throwdown.
Those three, right? Between the Korean Zombie, Calvin Kattar, and Jeremy Stevens. Well, maybe not Calvin Kattar because I feel like he's still out for another year after what Max Holloway did for.
He needs to take some months off,
yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I mean, between the Korean Zombie and Jeremy Stevens, I think both of those guys would be just awesome matchups for Dan Ige because he brings the fight and both those guys are willing and ready to accept it.
As long as the Korean Zombie doesn't move up to lightweight like he was kind of talking about a little earlier, because he doesn't like the time between fights is what he was saying. So he's kind of thinking a move to lightweight. Do you think that would serve him well?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I like him at featherweight, but maybe he'll be better at lightweight. Who knows?
Right. I just don't know how he fits into that top 5 picture.
Yeah, that's just that's
a tough one.
You're already solidified in the top 5 in featherweight. I'd say keep doing your thing there and try and figure it out.
Hey, but if we end up getting like the Korean Zombie against Charles Oliveira, like Conor McGregor versus Korean Zombie.
Oh, I wouldn't complain. That'd be pretty sweet. I just want to say though, Blake's bangers were pretty on point this week.
Blake's bangers were 100% on point this week.
Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. That was a pretty fun fight, wouldn't you say? I was entertained.
Unless you're an Ashley Yoder fan.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like a punching bag type deal. But also, that's kind of a couple of grappling moments, I guess.
Couple grappling moments. That's so nice of you, Blake. That's disrespectful.
But I mean, dude, Eric Anders was putting it on Darren Stewart. Like that was a really good fight.
That was almost a performance bonus until he hit the knee.
And then, of course, Dan Ige was a performance bonus. So
yes, he was. Blake, hey, my man, you're spot on. What can I say?
We got to keep him rolling.
Hey, speaking of keep it rolling, let's keep it rolling with another perfect call out tonight. There's 2 phenomenal call outs there. I say both of them were perfect. Because next we had in the co-main, on paper, it seemed almost like a lackluster co-main event. It seemed like maybe Dan Ige versus Gavin Tucker should have been there. But it did not disappoint. And between Misha Serkinov and Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann with a fat knockout 1 minute into the first round. And then he hits the call out of Jimmy Crute, or the winner of Jimmy Crute versus Anthony Smith. And I think that is a fantastic call out for him because either fighter not only would be a great fight, but I think rankings-wise, it makes sense as well because we have Ryan Spann, he's a 13. He just beat the number 11. And then you have Anthony Smith at 6. Jimmy Crute 1 spot above Ryan Spann at 13. So I would be all for this.
Yeah, no, that would be a pretty solid fight. It just kind of depends, I guess, who wins between Crute and Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would Smith really want to just keep fighting, another I don't want to crap on Span, but like, a guy that's not ranked as highly as he is
Yeah.
again. Usually, when you take care of the underdog and the up and coming guy, you're looking to shoot up again now. You're not really looking to go back down and But I mean,
Yeah.
yes, for Ryan Spann, that's an excellent call out, especially if, honestly, dude, even if Crute wins, he's kind of screwed too, because then Crute's shooting up. He's not going to fight back down. So it's kind of a tough one. It really is kind of a tough one. Um, yeah,
Do you
I
not
don't
see
know.
this
It's
one going down then?
because that's Anthony Smith is number 6, man. So whoever wins that fight is going to be feeling themselves like
Probably right.
they're about probably 2 fights away from a title shot at that point. I would say, because they're 1 fight from the top 5, and then after the top 5, another impressive performance against one of those guys, you could be up for the title. So it's hard for me to see that happening, but is it intriguing? Abso-fucking-lutely. Excuse my language.
It's okay. We're still sponsor friendly here. Yeah, I would be for that. It would be a solid move, at least for him. But if we don't get that, what do you see happening then?
Does Jamal Hill got a fight coming up?
Ooh, he did have the one that fell. That he does have one lined up. He does have one lined up actually.
Johnny Walker does his fell through? Did he get
That
rescheduled?
that was supposed to be the was that supposed to be the Jimmy Crute one?
Yeah, I think so, huh?
So he's still
but he got
injured.
injured.
Yeah,
He
he's
got
still
injured. What about Krylov? When did he fight last?
Nikita Krylov fought
Didn't he fight against Ankalev?
Yeah, he fought last week.
Oh, last week?
Or was it a couple weeks ago? Was it a couple weeks ago before that?
I thought maybe it was like a couple weeks ago.
It was a couple weeks.
Because it was against Magomed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Where he
Yeah.
got
So it was
smacked.
recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I could say maybe match those guys up, dude, because that'd be like the number 9 now versus the number 11.
Ooh, I'd be for that.
Maybe a Krylov.
Hey,
Because it would just make more sense. I mean, the guys between Crute and Smith, that's going to be a main event fight.
yeah.
That's whoever wins that's going to have hella freaking momentum. I mean, maybe the loser of that fight he could face, but it's a tough ask to get that number 6 ranking. I'm assuming is going to come out of that fight. Whoever wins, that's going to be a really tough ask for the number 11 fighter. Even with that, especially with that fantastic KO performance. You think anyone's trying to sign that dotted line right now? Hell no.
Probably not, right?
Not for the number 11 ranking. Hell no. Shoot.
I think that's a good point right there. But at the very least, I think we know one thing is that the UFC light heavyweight division is in good shape right now. I mean,
oh yeah, there's some players in this division right now.
Even the smaller names, like maybe I guess lesser known names, less household names. There's some really good names. I mean, just even the 10 through 15 between Walker, Serkinov, Crute, Span, Craig, and Hill.
Hill's a sleeper, man. And what I was going to say too is Johnny Walker is probably who, at least I don't know about you, but I was really looking forward to seeing him, progress.
Yeah.
Probably we've been high on him for about 2 years, I'd say,
for least. A little bit now. He's been fun.
And he's been kind of not the best lately, but
it's maybe it's because he needs to stop doing backflips and stuff like that. Maybe
right. Stop doing the worm and all that in the cage. But my point being, like there's a lot of new faces and new names in this division besides Johnny Walker to get excited about. A Yuri Prochaka, Magomed Ankalev. There's still old guys. Well, not old guys, but old faces like Ozdemir. There's Thiago Santos. There's Dominic Reyes. There's still
getting a title shot.
Glover's getting a title shot.
Not confirmed, crazy. But we write if he doesn't.
Yeah, he should get it.
He has to. He has to get that title shot. If he doesn't, it literally would make zero sense. But man, I love that fight. But of course, that brings us to our main event, which was disappointing and heartbreaking all at the same time because we have Belal Muhammad against the returning Leon Edwards, and it ends in a no contest from a really bad looking eye poke. I mean, Blake, did you see the picture of it where Leon Edwards' finger is essentially in the bottom part of the eyelid?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You
Like
can see
I've
his
seen the
whole
DC,
eyeball, dude.
I've seen the Daniel Cormier eye pokes. I've seen the John Jones eye pokes. I've never seen an eye poke like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how they. I guess it must have been from like a still frame from
It,
like a video, right?
yeah,
Because I was gonna say, there's no way someone got a picture of that high def that zoomed in. Like that's some
shoot,
good stuff right there.
right?
But yeah, it was the fight. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people online the past couple of days just talking a bunch of crap on Belal, like it was some ass whooping.
It wasn't
And
that one sided.
and I got to be honest with you, dude. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like
Thank you.
I really didn't see an ass whooping either way. I
No.
mean, was Leon getting the better of Belal in the stand up exchanges?
Yes.
Yes. But was Belal backing down, and was he like shriveling up, and was it looking like he was getting it really put on him?
No.
No. Hell no.
He had
Dude.
control
Like,
in some parts too. In
it was
some parts in
round
the
two, I
first
want to
round.
say. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he was doing really good in the clinch. He was doing really, really
Yeah.
good.
He had them.
Like, and I remember even looking at my brother. We were waiting for our dessert to come up, our creme brulee and all this
Oh,
stuff.
you bum.
And I was telling him, I was like, yo, dude, that was a competitive, because I think we got it on like 2.5 minutes in the first round. We missed the first 2.5. We were singing happy birthday. But yeah, dude, the 2.5 minutes I saw in the first round, I was really impressed with Belal.
Yes.
And I thought he was doing fine for going against the so-called number 3 guy in the world.
Also, the so-called "I've only gotten better in my time away," Leon Edwards.
Yeah. So that was a little frustrating to see online today. And I'm not even a Belal, super fan or anything like that. So a little frustrated by that. But in terms of, does this need to be run back or not? I say yeah.
Do we make it happen?
I say yeah. Like, who else is Leon going to fight right now? Everyone's tied up. I mean, or just not fighting. So
Well, I wonder when Bilal's going to be able to be back. I wonder how bad that eye.
Yeah.
Luckily, he said there was nothing permanent after he did the little hospital visit post-fight, which is always good news. But he's not going to be back soon, is he?
Who knows? Yeah,
It looked
I
bad.
mean,
It looked
eyes
bad.
are very difficult to kind of.
I mean, we saw how long Stipe was out after his eye
Yeah.
pokes in the second fight against Daniel Cormier.
Yeah,
So
and that's not something you want to mess with. I mean, visions.
no,
That's a big deal.
I obviously right. I do like the points he made. It was not an ass whooping like you said. Bilal was in that fight, and then Bilal
Dude, it was round 2. Like, let's.
also.
What are you guys talking about?
I don't think people have to remember that Bilal he can take a punch, man. He has a good chin.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the head kick that cut his head open from the shin.
Yeah.
He was rocked with that. But
And I mean, I feel like that might be why people are saying he got his ass beat, but it's like, dude, okay, one good shot. Like, look at Nate Diaz.
Right.
That, like, he takes about 55 of those, and then that's when he's finally started. Okay, I'm warmed up now.
Right? And then he was rocked for a little bit, but he recovered pretty damn well, and he was in it after that.
Yeah.
And he clipped Leon a couple times too. He didn't have him rocked like Leon had him rocked. But Belal was in that fight, and I really don't want to hear otherwise. And I am all for having the rematch. I didn't like what Leon said after the fight, where like, oh yeah, well, there we go, title shot time. What?
No, you don't get a title shot after poking someone in the eye. You
No,
need to run
you
that
got
fight
the
back,
warning. You got the warning,
or
and
fight someone that's like a Wonder Boy, or someone that's just as good.
Right?
He's got to do something to earn that title shot, because he's not done anything for 2 years.
No, what you do? You go poke someone in the eye so you don't have to finish the fight. That's what you do?
And if it was so easy, dude, run it back.
Hey, you scared? You scared Belal?
Like, that should be another easy paycheck in your mind if that's the case.
You would think so, but assuming that the rematch doesn't go down, what should we do for either fighter? For Leon, I'd say we give him either Colby Covington, who in reports came out the day of recording this that Dana White called Colby Covington after Hamzat fell out, and he refused this fight, which I don't really blame him. I don't think that's too big of a deal. There's a lot of people crapping on Colby for not taking this fight, but also, not taking a fight on 3 weeks or 4 weeks notice. That's really not that too big of a deal in my book, especially when you could arguably be getting the next welterweight title shot. So I really don't have a problem against that. But I do really like a guy that Leon hasn't seen before in this top 5 of the welterweight division is Wonderboy Thompson. I would love this fight from a stylistic match point. I mean, of course, we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for Wonder Boy to be, healed from his hand injuries after that fight against Jeff Neal. But I do like where this is at right now, and I would like that. And we do see Leon against a legitimate top 5 fighter, and it's perfect because either fighter that wins this fight should get the next title shot. I really need to see a Stephen Thompson title shot, or if Leon wants to earn that title shot like he thinks he did, go out and beat Wonder Boy, a guy deserving of one. What
Did
do
you
you
want me
think?
to respond to that?
Yeah, what do you think?
Shit.
What are the fights you want?
I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, I feel like we pretty much echoed each other right there.
Right there.
It's for Colby, like backing up to how you said that he turned that fight down. Yeah, I don't blame him for turning down a 3 to 4 week main event notice. That's just not a good look for him. He deserves, I think, at least 6 weeks. Like, give the dude 6 weeks. And then that would be a fantastic fight. Leon versus Colby would be a fantastic fight. Now I think there's no reason for Colby to decline that fight. That would be a great main event fight. I also think Colby versus Stephen Thompson,
Oh,
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson would be a good fight.
Wonder
So
Boy did call him out.
yeah, I mean, Leon's got options. It's just like, what is he going to choose, and who's going to accept? Is
He
Colby going to accept? Like I said, there's no who the hell else is Colby going to fight now? There's no one else besides him and Gilbert Burns and Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
So he's
There-
going to have to fight one of those. All of those guys are going to have to fight someone.
And then on the other side of the card, we have the next opponent for Belal if the rematch doesn't happen. And there's a name that stands out to me, and it's one that I would actually really like to see this matchup. And I don't want to say that Belal did not deserve a shot against a top 5 opponent. I think I'm totally fine with that, and I think it's due. I have no problem with him fighting a top 5 guy, but maybe for, I guess you can say, more realistic step up in competition. No disrespect, but the number 6 guy, a guy that just put on a showing against Neil Magny a little bit ago. What about Belal Muhammad against Michael Chiesa?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
Just
I don't
just
think
cool.
that's I
what
don't
do
think
you,
that's going to happen though.
what do you think? What do you think's more realistic then?
Um,
Tyron Woodley.
yeah, it's because that's between the 1 through 5 with Thompson. Well, obviously excluding Masvidal because he's fighting Usman.
Yes.
But I think, man, yeah, I don't know. That is kind of tough because there's going to be someone that's left out. So Tyron Woodley doesn't have a fight scheduled?
Last time I heard, I thought he was still rapping.
Yeah,
But we say rapping.
he's got Vicente Luque. Remember, he's got
Oh yeah, he's got
UFC
a
260.
chance where he actually has a chance in that one. I still don't like it though. I still don't like his chances of that one. I feel like maybe this is the last fight we see of Tyron Woodley, and he leaves the UFC on a 4-fight losing streak.
Could be, dude. Could be. Yeah, I mean, so Chiesa or the Belal fight is hard. That's a really tough one for me to make because that was kind of like his big shot, and I don't see a Chiesa taking a number 13 when he's worked so hard to get up to where he's at right now, and he's like one fight away basically from really being close to title contention.
Yeah, yes. It's tough for Belal, man. That's why I feel so bad for him because he had that big. It was a really big opportunity. It got stolen away from him with the eye poke. So that's why, at the end of the day, Blake, let's make this all easy. We don't even have to think about any other possibilities. But just run it back. Just run it back. Right? Not that hard.
It's tough. It really does depend on the medical suspension, I think, because you gotta get that freaking welterweight division going, man. Like, I don't know. It just seems like it's been too stagnant lately. I don't know.
Yeah.
This last year just seems like it's all same old, same. Almost 2 years, it's been same old, same old.
Maybe UFC 261 could get a jump start to this division and make things maybe get things going again with this title shot. Then we get moving on. Then one last point I want to talk about with this UFC Vegas 21 card, Blake, is that there's a lot of people that were pointing out the fact, and myself too. I said at the least the UFC probably needs to once again look into exploring different gloves with this, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen, but the one of my favorite JRE MMA ones when he had Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje on, and which we'll speak about Justin Gaethje in a second here. But essentially, Trevor Whitman, one of the best coach in MMA right now, I would like to make that very clear, is that he made his own MMA gloves. So the problem with UFC gloves, for those that are uneducated, is that the fighters know that it actually takes it's hard to actually make a fist. Like it burns out your forearm. Like it takes effort to actually clench your fist, and your fingers almost want to be out automatically, which of course, as we all know, it's bad for eye pokes. Whereas Trevor Whitman's glove, they pull back on the carpals, the metacarpals, whatever the hell it is. But essentially, it makes the hand a little more relaxed and a little more curved, so it actually puts the fingertips down. But the reason that the UFC doesn't use those gloves is because they just want to buy the patent from Trevor Whitman for those gloves, and so obviously Whitman doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to sell the patent for his gloves to the UFC, rather just sell his gloves to the UFC, which makes sense. And the UFC doesn't want to do that. I mean, and Zuffa LLC doesn't want to do that, which is stupid. But Blake, do you think that the UFC needs to change the gloves?
I don't know. They got to look into it. Something, man. There's
At
too many eye
least,
pokes going on.
right?
Something's got to change. But it's tough with the whole grappling situation, because that is a big aspect of the game.
Of course.
So it's a really tough conversation to be had, and it's going to be interesting to see if there really is any improvements that are going to be made over these next few years.
What about your take on the whole kind of controversy between why the UFC won't just buy Trevor Whitman's gloves instead of just going after the patent? Do you think the UFC's in the wrong right there?
I think they're greedy, but that's just kind of how business works. It's yeah. Again, it's tough, man. Like, I'm not in these meetings, so I don't really know the numbers being discussed, and who knows? Like, if they're giving Trevor a shitty deal, or if Trevor's asking for a bit much. I'm not privy to that knowledge.
Oh, I
So
wish we were. Imagine that. Oh, imagine just being a fly on the wall in half of Dana White's meetings.
it's weird though that they can't come to some type of agreement, because I mean, if it really is that good of a solution, then why can't both sides come to an agreement? I don't get that.
Yeah, and then what Whitman is saying too, that he has a lot of fighters that buy and use those gloves. That's what they all use over there at Team Elevation. They use those MMA gloves, and when they're not using boxing gloves. And also Michael Chiesa, he was making a point on the post fight kind of show after UFC Vegas 21 ended, is that a lot of the guys, they spar with boxing gloves, and with boxing gloves you're able to not worry about curling up your fingers. They're kind of out like that. So he was saying that that might have a problem, but like you said, Blake, I think at the least the UFC needs to look into changing the gloves, or at least modifying their gloves to make it a little less eye pokey, because this is becoming a bigger problem recently. It seems like, or at least it's been a problem that's been put on a pedestal. And so, all I'm saying is that if they had better gloves, if they were using those Whitman gloves, this whole Belal Muhammad Leon Edwards situation probably wouldn't have gone down. So it's worth taking a look at. And then moving on from that now, Blake, couple new fights that are being put together as we speak. And this one, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for both of them, to be honest. But the first one, Beneil Dariush versus Tony Ferguson, is being planned for UFC 262, which is on May 15th. Dariush getting that big win a number of weeks ago against Tony Ferguson, who's a guy on a 2-fight losing streak, but he's still that number 5 guy in that lightweight division. What do you think about this matchup?
I think that's a good matchup. It's a good matchup to for Tony to kind of prove where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
If if the critics are right and he has lost it, then this is a good one. This is a good opponent for him to go out there and show it against. Like Dariush is a guy that's a stud in my opinion. He's really got not a lot of holes in his. I don't think he has any holes in his game. I think he's solid
There's no hole.
everywhere.
There's no hole.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's gonna be a good, I think a really good matchup. I
Mm-hmm.
think the matchmakers did a really good job with this one,
Yeah.
and it's going to be kind of just like a benchmark to see where is Tony at. Is he still upper level, or is he going down?
Well, it's a good benchmark fight for both fighters because we had Dariush just having a really good showing against Diego Ferreira, and he looked damn good in that one. And where Tony Ferguson, he seemingly lost his.
Gassed a little bit though. He gassed a little.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. And Ferguson, he's kind of lost the aura of Tony Ferguson, I would say, with these back to back losses where he got his face caved in by Justin Gaethje with some cinder block hands for 4.5 rounds,
Right.
and then he gets 30-26 against Michael Chandler or sorry Charles Oliveira. Um, so he's on a bad two-fight losing streak. If there's a really bad two-fight losing streak, he's on it, especially after being a guy that was, if he beat Justin Gaethje, he was going to be fighting Khabib for the title. So he has a big prove-it fight to see if he still has it. And could be a fight where if he, depending on what he does to Dariush, he could get his aura back. Maybe get back onto that 12-fight win streak. He wins 12 fights in a row, drops 2. Now he has a chance to kind of make amends, but I don't know. I like Dariush's chances in this fight.
Yeah, we're gonna see, man. I want to see Tony get back up there, so I'm hoping Tony can put it together.
Yeah, great fight for either guy though. And then the next fight is one that I was screaming for as soon as Michael Chandler took the head off of Dan Hooker back in January, because there's no date in plan right now, but Ariel Helwani broke on Monday that the UFC is getting together Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje in essentially a title eliminator fight with this one. Two dudes that can throw the hell down. One guy, or both of them with heavy wrestling backgrounds. One guy that actually uses his wrestling background. So this fight has all the makings of a fireworks show and a fight of the night on whatever card they're going to be on, and this has to be a main event.
Yeah, of course. I don't know, man. This is gonna be a really tough one for me to call. It's just what just the doctor ordered though is what I'd say. I mean that you really can't be mad at that
No,
matchup.
no.
Someone's gonna go to sleep, and if they don't go to sleep, it's gonna be a freaking war.
Someone's getting bloody.
I mean, by the end of 2 minutes in the first round.
Straight up. And what I'm curious about was something I was kind of wrong about is I was like, oh, maybe Justin Gaethje finally, since he has to use it against Khabib, maybe he finally shows off his wrestling background, his really high credentialed wrestling background. Maybe, since that didn't happen in the Khabib fight, maybe that happens against Michael Chandler.
I think people just need to stop
You
looking
think?
for that. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. I think he likes to knock people out and uses kicks.
The day that Justin Gaethje shoots for a takedown is a day that Blake does that one chip challenge and that the real spicy chip.
Sure.
Oh, oh, okay. Y'all heard that? If the day Justin Gaethje shoots for a takedown, Blake will be
Has he
doing.
not shot for a takedown
He
yet?
has not shot for a takedown in the UFC.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
Okay. Well, yeah, then I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Come on, okay. I'm just putting out here, Blake. The day that Justin Gaethje shoots for a takedown in the UFC is the day that Blake does the one chip challenge with that really, really spicy tortilla chip.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't even know what you're talking about, but whatever.
Hey,
It's not going to be spicy.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Oh man, and then we go from two new fights, Blake, and let's get look a little short preview for UFC Vegas 22 with Blake's bangers. Blake, what are the fights to look out for this card? Because you were so spot on with UFC Vegas 21. Let's back up with UFC Vegas 22.
So this card, I'm keying in on a few fights on the main card. The first fight that I'm really looking forward to is a Sacramento guy, local Sacramento guy, Max Payne Griffin. He's going up against Keenan Song. It's a welterweight bout, 170. Should be a pretty good, contest. I think Griffin. I want to say the last time he went out there, he sliced a dude's ear off with his elbow. So
Oh, I don't like that picture. I
yeah, so I mean,
did not like that picture.
should be a decent fight, I think.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
My next fight that I have up there, Tai to Ivasa versus Dontel Maze. I mean, shoeys, bombs, knockouts. What more could you ask for? Dude brings it all. That's going to be a really good one. And then I think the third fight that I'm looking most forward to, it's kind of a tie. Well, I mean, I think the third fight I'm definitely looking most forward to is the main event. But I
Of
definitely,
course.
I still want to give a shout out to Brad Riddell and Gregor Gillespie in the
Mm.
co-main event because Gregor's coming back from that devastating knockout from Kevin Lee, and I always like seeing guys come back from, getting their heads knocked off and seeing do they still have it? Are they still gonna, be in there mentally and you know have what it takes to get back to where they once were.
Yeah.
Brad Riddell, another guy I think that comes out of Izzy's team,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. So that he should have some solid striking. Should be a good contest. But this main event, man, I am super stoked. I mean, Kevin Holland gets a main event against Derrick Brunson.
It's
It's gonna
about
be
damn time. It's
it's gonna be a
about damn
big
time, Blake.
it's gonna be a big moment because if Kevin Holland wins this fight, he is now with the big boys. He is now with the Costas. He is now with the Tills. He is now with the Whitakers. He is now with the Adesanyas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a big deal for him. He needs to get this W.
Dude, it's a huge deal for him. I mean, he finally you have Derek Brunson trying to shout the loud mouth of Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland coming off of a historical 2020 with 5 fights and 5 wins, one of only 3 UFC fighters in history to pull that feat off. And I mean, speaking of Gillespie, this is his first fight. His return to the octagon about a year and a half. And then he was before he fought Kevin Lee, he was 13-0. Took the loss, and, undefeated no more. And so that's a huge one to watch out for. And one thing that I would like to throw out there is on the prelims, we have Grant Dawson versus Leonardo Santos. Both these guys are undefeated in the UFC. Dawson, a little more of a recent guy onto the UFC roster. Dana White Contender Series alum. He's 4-0 in the UFC currently. And then we go over to Leonardo Santos, another guy that's undefeated in the UFC, even though he hasn't really had that many fights. He's actually a longtime veteran. He's been with the UFC since 2013. He actually was a Tough Brazil Season 2 veteran, and he fought on a UFC card that was on Fuel TV. Can you believe that one, Blake? Isn't that a throwback? Fuel TV.
Oh, that is a throwback.
Right? That's how you know this man has been in the company for a while. So, of course, a little different version of a undefeated record just because he's, really only fought on about once a year with the UFC. But this is still, hey, someone's always got to go. So this is always a good one. And Grant Dawson, he's a really solid up-and-comer. Only one loss is on his career. That was a few fights before he got into Dana White's Contender Series in the UFC. So I really like what this young guy has to offer, and I'm really excited for this one. And then to cap things off, Blake, like you said at the beginning, UFC is back in action in full capacity crowds there in Jacksonville. And I am super pumped for this because, of course, with UFC 261, that card is coming together nicely because Dana White not only released a video saying that fans are back, but also before this card, or before this announcement was made, we already knew we had 3 pretty damn big fights between Anthony Smith and Jimmy Crute, Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Andrade. Now, this is a fight with Andrade and Shevchenko where, most of these Shevchenko fights, Blake, it's like oh, who's she going to murder next? Is essentially what it is. With this, I actually hesitated a little bit and think, oh, I think Andrade actually has a decent chance in this one, or at least maybe a bigger chance than some people are giving her credit for. Then, of course, in the strawweight, we have Weili Zhang against Rose Namajunas in a what's just going to be a flat out slobber knocker of a strawweight title defense for Weili. And then announced on Monday, we get the rematch between Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. Now, the first fight between these two fighters was awful. It was abysmal. It was super boring, and it was super meme-worthy with the foot stomping. But now, ever since Kamaru Usman whooped the shit out of Gilbert Burns on the stand-up, and we now get Jorge Masvidal to have a full camp for this fight, I'm really excited for this one, and I think it's going to be 100 times better than what we first saw.
God, I hope so. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, you heard what I had to say about it earlier. Usman better deliver. Because, I mean, everyone's on his side right now. He had a great performance against Gilbert Burns. But if he goes out there and tries to do that little foot stomping, dumb, hugging against the cage crap again, I'm going to go right back to hating on him.
And I think it'll be well-deserved. Usman, a little bit of pressure going to this fight. Jorge Masvidal, I especially after the first fight with this, I don't see any pressure behind Jorge in this one, to be honest, because I'm not expecting him to win.
He's getting another fat paycheck, and he still has the BMF belt. So I mean, maybe they'll use that one of these days again. I don't know. It's still such a random, weird thing to have,
and
but cool as well. It's so very.
It was
cool.
It was really cool with The Rock putting the belt on him.
But why does it only have one fight in its existence? Like, what the hell is that about?
Dana White did say it was a one-off.
Like, they should have done BMF. Like, that's a catchweight belt. Like, that's a belt where it's whoever wants to fight, they fight at whatever weight they agree to, and then it travels with the winner, and the winner just keeps getting challenged, or they challenge someone else. It doesn't matter. That's how I think it should be done.
That's why I want to see
one BMF fight per year.
And off of that, that's why we need to see Figueiredo against. Let's just throw him against Francis Ngannou. They'll meet at 200 pounds.
Jeez, you need to let him have like two other flyweights in there with him.
Okay, here we go. Who would win, Blake? Who would win? Let's cap this off. Who would win in a fight between Francis Ngannou and Francis Ngannou is fighting both Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno?
I'm gonna go with Francis. I'm gonna go Francis Ngannou big time. I'm saying if you put a third flyweight in there, it gets a little interesting. I think.
What about two bantamweights? So what if we get Corey Sandhagen and Piotr Jan versus Francis Ngannou?
Do they have to cut weight, or are they just going what they walk around at?
They're going in what they walk around at.
Still gonna go with Francis, but I mean, he might take a couple good shots. Corey might crack him a few good times.
Hey, if he hits, we need.
Yoder's a little too small. I think he's getting just whack-a-mole.
All I imagine is like this little kid running up to Francis Ngannou and him just like. So Overeem 265, huge man. If he was able to get lifted up off the ground due to Francis Ngannou uppercut, what would he do to a flyweight?
Yeah, it would be bad. It would be murder.
He's not only sending someone to orbit, he's saying them, Elon Musk, we have our way to Mars. And that's through Francis Ngannou.
Jesus, bro.
Jesus.
He's straight to frickin', the Lord himself. It's gonna be bad.
Oh. And that's how we're going to end it, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know who would win in the fight between Francis Ngannou and Brandon Moreno. Ooh. Give us your three bantamweights that would beat Francis Ngannou in a fight, and give us your give me your three two bantamweights, and then give me your three flyweights that would beat Francis Ngannou in a fight. I really want to see what you guys had to come up with. But Blake, fantastic card all in all against UFC, with UFC Vegas 21. Belal Muhammad needs a rematch against Leon Edwards. UFC Vegas 22 is going to slap, and let's look forward to April, where we get the return of fans with the UFC 261. Blake, You describe UFC Vegas 21 with one word. What is it?
Okay.
We'll go with okay, but what isn't okay is this show because it's fan freaking tastic. Thank you to our Patreon supporters that support this fan freaking tastic show. Shout out to Ray Rodriguez, who for all your card needs, all your card collecting needs, follow at the Big Bat Box on Instagram. Shout out to Ryan Watson and Neil Wiley and his YouTube channel Chosen Problems. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in the next one.